Good morning. Right, so this is my first visit to the sauna. So I'm specifically going to use the sauna for my hair. First visit since the 14th of March. So that's 12 days that I've not been to the gym. I'm going because I'm traveling in that direction. I'm meeting my friend at 12. So it's about a 5 minutes. Yeah, it's a 5 minutes walk away from the gym to the train station. So just killing two birds with one stone. But this may or may not be part one of two videos that I'm going to record today. And I'm gonna cover. I'm walking leisurely because it's a nice day. So I'm not walking for exercise. I'm walking to enjoy the sunshine. There are two things that I specifically want to cover. The first one is to do with self-improvement, personal development. Now, today is, I believe it's the 20th, hold on, I don't even know, Wednesday, Thursday, 26th of March. So I'm 3 days into my 56th year. And what is my surprise that over the past few days, I've been banned for 30 days from Facebook for saying that women are dishonest. I stand by that, and I'll probably cover why shortly. If not on this video, if I do record one on the way back, I will most definitely cover it in that one, based on comments that I'm gonna hear when I get to the sauna, or rather that I'm anticipating. But these comments are not exclusive to the sauna. They are wherever you go. So it could be in a nightclub. I could be wearing something very tight and someone's going to comment on my physique. And if my age is mentioned, I will be told that it's because of good genes, I don't have children, or luck. These are your standard answers. It's never because of effort. It's always luck, genetics, or lack of children. Right, so much to my surprise, and this is a first actually, in the past few days, I was actually in the process of answering two people when the ban was imposed. So it's almost like I was banned mid-sentence as I was writing the comment. And the post was to do with me paraphrasing. Can women survive being single or without marriage, etc.? And my answer was yes. And I explained why. This is before the ban, of course. I explained why. And in doing so, I copied and pasted a passage from the book, a section on marriage, which I wrote when I was 33 years old, which contains the sentence, "It is better to be single and happy than it is to be married and miserable." And in saying that, I'm going to come to my sister, the thing about being single, because as you know, as I've mentioned many times, I'm looking after her. And so I'm in effect not a single person. I have a responsibility for someone who isn't capable of looking after themselves. I will come back to this. So much to my surprise, the comments back were, I also participated in a live stream last night. I'll come to that also. But much to my surprise, my self-improvement, which I have been doing since the early 90s. When I say doing since the early 90s, I mean with using paper and pen. I made lists of things that I needed to overcome and things that I needed to develop. And I've actively been doing that all these years, more than 30 years. So what was my surprise when I had people asking me if I embarked on a personal development program, knowing that in the future life would be hard as a single person. Never heard that one before. And the same thing, the same speculations were thrown at me on the live stream last night. And I was left saying to one woman that if she met me in real life, she'd run away because she'd be intimidated by me. And that's a fact. So we are in a time when strong things or strength is perceived as weakness. I'm not going to go into my feelings about how I feel about life as a single person, no children, never been married, other than to say, for most people the goal is happiness. But what is happiness? Define happiness. For me, the goal is peace. Cliche, inner peace, but that's the goal. In order to have peace, you don't need to have any external trappings. So you don't need children, husband, money, status, none of those things. Inner peace is a feeling. It's an achievement. It's having oneness, where you can walk into your house and you don't need to turn the TV on or the radio or YouTube. You don't need to ring a friend. You don't need any distractions. You can just be at one with yourself. That is inner peace. So a lot of people learned during lockdown that they didn't enjoy their own company. A lot of people, can I cross? I think so. Yeah, a lot of people learned what it's like to be alone when lockdown was enforced. In fact, I was ringing some of them to try and keep their spirits up, because they weren't able to cope without seeing their friends, without going to work, etc. Whereas this friend I'm going to meet now, she absolutely loved it. She never experienced anything like that. Obviously, I work from the living room, so I always, if I want to, you could say I always live in a state of lockdown. I don't have to go outside unless I choose to. And so for her, when lockdown happened, I mean, it was enforced, obviously, but she loved it because it gave her an opportunity to do other things that didn't include work. So so some people thrived and others did not. I've said before, for me lockdown was like real life. It was like in fact the conditions were less harsh than those I impose on myself. So I loved it personally.
Yes, so I'm going to wind up on the self-improvement thing.
So no, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, self-improvement is 100% not about working on myself so that I can cope with my life of perceived misery. It is nothing to do that. It's about be therefore perfect. It's about becoming better, a better human being. And when I say better, I'm thinking in terms of, if you think of a tennis player, they have a coach. It doesn't matter, Roger Federer, Rafa Nadal, all of them, top players, multi-Grand Slam winners, they still have coaches. Why do they have a coach? You can answer that yourselves. So, from the same perspective, coaching yourself towards becoming a better person in mind, in body, and spirit. What is weak about that? I mean, if people can perceive weakness in that, then that's a question for them to answer, not for me to try and figure out the answer. So I leave that there. The other thing, this is a fun part. So a couple of weeks ago, this time I was flat out on my back. I had a fever for like Saturday, Sunday and Monday. Wasn't eating because lost my appetite. But it's funny because that weekend I had designated as my my weekend to lose weight. So I was intending actually to not so much crash diet, but to make some effort to lose some weight. Not that I'm carrying excess weight or anything like that, but it's just part of my fitness program. So it was going to be a weekend of weight loss and then toning. So that happened inadvertently anyway because I wasn't eating. So there you go. Now here's the funny part. Some may not find this funny, but I do. I find it hilarious. I learned so much. I had all and sundry grabbing at me. Are you all right? You can't be all right. This is over the course of taking in last weekend as well. You can't be all right, especially, because my mother died. And these same people who think personal improvement is weakness, grabbing at me, trying to, in my opinion, trying to convince me that I'm not okay. You're not okay. You can't be okay. How can I help you? Mental health. And I think I've already made the videos where I said I was cursing people. And this is why I haven't been to the gym, because I frankly didn't want to see anybody. Because I had been going every day for about 6 weeks. And I did say that when rolls of fabric started to get delivered and I have to go back to work, I was going to cut back. But that fell on deaf ears because I was getting the "where are you" phone calls and messages. The fact that I don't go to the gym or to the sauna for others, I go for myself, not so much makes me wonder about people, because as I said in the beginning, it's not exclusive to the gym. It's just exclusive to wherever there are people. They get familiar and they start wanting you to be there. They start missing you and all kinds of crazy things like this. And some would say, but it's good that people miss you. It means they like you. And my point would be, what do they contribute to my life? It's not that I need them to contribute something to my life, but from a standpoint of missing people, if you miss someone, it's because of what they contribute to you. I've said that I don't miss people, and that is interpreted as me being cold and emotionless and something wrong with me. Nothing to do with that. It's that I'm self-sufficient. And here's where my self-sufficiency ran out. So I was low on energy. Good morning. I was low on energy for obvious reasons. I wasn't eating. But I still have to look after my sister. So I'm having to find energy to, continue with her. And, work just wasn't happening. I tried and it just wasn't happening. I just didn't have the energy for it. So it was what it was. But as I said, I learned a lot, because whereas they were grabbing at me, how are you? What's wrong? Can we help? Mental health. When it comes to practical health, I don't need any help with my mental health, by the way. It comes to practical help, they're not equipped to do it, which brings me back to personal development. If you've developed yourself to be useful, it's likely that you'll be able to help people in practical ways. So they don't have the wherewithal to make physical contributions. As I said, I ran out of energy. I didn't have enough energy for myself, but I still needed to find energy from somewhere, because I still need to look after my sister. So some of the options put forward were respite. Right, so it doesn't matter how much respite I get if somebody comes and take my sister off my hands. No amount of that is going to help me to be able to sew if I don't have the energy to do a day's work, because I'm low on energy. Things that people don't understand. My friend I'm meeting now is in the same line of work as me. That's how we met. We used to work together. She is about the only useful person I would know in that situation. I could ring her up and say, can you come and help me sew? And the answer from her would be yes, because she would put herself out to do it. But how easy is it to just be offering a shoulder, or let's talk about your mental health or something? How easy is it to do that? And had I not been ill, I would not have experienced people at that level. And so here I am now, and I've rejected their mental health and whatever spiritual advice they think they had for me. Because the other thing is, as regards my sister, God will bless you. I'm not doing this so God can bless me. I'm doing it because she needs someone to look after her. And also the idea that I should put her, the idea, people, like I said, I low on energy, right? And the idea is, oh, you're not coping. It isn't a matter of you're not coping. And their idea for coping, like I said, is to get respite or to put her in residential care. And the whole point is that she doesn't want to go into residential care. And you would have to be inhumane to do that to your relative. It is different if they've got some kind of illness or condition that you need an expert to manage. She doesn't have any such condition, right? So, but the idea that I should dump her, which is what it would be, into residential care, would be so that I can continue living my life, which is what her other relatives and friends have been doing over the past nearly 2 years now. They've just been getting on with their lives. It is not an indication that I am a good person because I'm looking after my sister. And as I said to someone earlier in the week, I am not doing it, as some suppose, because I love her. And also another point that came up was that I was asked if I love anybody, and I said no. And I was asked if I love God, and I said no. And people would think, how can you say that? How can you not love God? How can you not love people? It's by our actions. It's not for me to say whether or not I love God, because my definition of love and God's definition are not going to be the same thing. So it is up to God to know whether or not I love him. That's what I meant when I said no. You know what I mean? It's what's that saying? Love is as love does. There are many who profess to love my sister, and yet they've never done anything for her. All they do is they send their love. If that is love, then that is not love. If you understand what I just said. If love is just an expression, give her my love, tell her I'm thinking about her, that's not love. So no, I don't love in that way. If love is helping somebody practical, then yes, I love people. There is a scripture that says when you are in the service of your fellow beings, you are in the service of your God. If this be the case, then yes, I love God, right? But I'm not one of those people who are gonna run around screaming, I love Jesus, I love God, and then I'm doing nothing to help my fellow men. I was sort of joking around on Thursday. That was the day of my mother's funeral. I was talking to one of my sister's ex-work colleagues and friend, and was joking about my sister. Because it's a long story that I won't go into, involving the social worker who has been trying to persuade her to go into residential care, which, as I said, she doesn't want. So between us, we were joking and saying, my sister is not the type to live as a disabled person, to live independently as a disabled person. It's either she is the type who will have someone look after her, or she's going to recover her health. But it's not going to be that she's adjusting to life as a disabled person. And I mean, this friend agreed with me. My sister agreed. And it's like knowing people. How can you serve people if you don't know them? Right, so I know my sister and I know what's good for her. But in every situation, I'm ill, I'm tired, anything, the first thing people will say, put her in respite, put her in residential care, when that is not the answer. So, I'm not going to dwell much longer on this, but it's just to say, as I said, this is the second week, and in a way I'm still recovering because I still haven't really recovered my appetite. So of course I don't have as much energy as I would do if I was eating normally. But having said that, and this may sound terrible, but it isn't meant terrible. I'm just speaking straight, quite frankly, in my experienced people are useless, and I come back to the personal development thing. If you just sort of bounce through life and you never try to become a better person, a more useful person, the results are going to be the same. And as I said, just to wind up, whereas I had people throwing themselves, offering to help me, imagining that I'm going through something mentally or emotionally, when in fact I was ill, I had a fever, and knock-on effect, loss of appetite. That was the problem. When in a situation where I need actual practical help, so like the flat needs cleaning, I'm on a deadline which I'm struggling to keep up with for, as I said, a lack of energy. I still got my sister to look after, to provide food for, and so forth. I still have to do all of these things. How easy would it be if somebody could pick up themselves practically and maybe come and clean the kitchen and cook something for her? That would be very easy. Most people can cook. So why isn't anybody offering that service? Is it because it's actually having to put physical effort in? Is that the reason why? Not because they can't do it, but because they're unwilling. But words are easy. It's very easy to call up someone and offer, if you need to talk, you can talk to me. Why would, I've said this so many times, the weak must not lead the strong. I don't need to talk to anybody. The only time, yes, I will have conversations, like I was messaging my friend in America who's no nonsense, and the messages were, is life really worth living if it's garbage? So it's sort of like, your life can be so garbage, is there actually any point to just continuing living a garbage life? That was like the question. And his response, not knocking him or anything, was that I should put my sister in a home and come and visit in America, which is like absolutely not the exercise. It's not about offloading my sister and going off somewhere for rest and resuscitation. But absolutely not that. So it's just interesting. There are things you find out because, like I said, in my situation, I wasn't well, that you wouldn't find out ordinarily. So it will be interesting to see what kind of comments get made when I get back to the gym, because I know they would have noticed that I'm not there. And I'm afraid to say I'm going to answer sarcastically. And when I say sarcastically, it's not, I don't sort of like have any negative feelings towards people as such, towards individuals. But if the comment is made, "We missed you," I'm going to ask why. I'm going to ask why did you miss me? And my next question will be, in what way do you contribute to my life? And then the third point will be, you miss me because of what you get from me, because I didn't miss you. And that might seem harsh to some of you who are more of the be kind mindset, but these are things that do need to be pointed out to people. It's very easy to say, "Oh, I miss you, I was thinking about you, I was worried about you." But in what way do you contribute to anything of use to my life? And on that note, I'll leave that there. All right, have a lovely day, morning, afternoon. And today is a very sunny day. So I hope the sun is, it's sunny where I am and warm. I hope it is where you are too. Have a lovely day. Take care. Bye-bye.